The Truckers win. The Truckers win this movie.
Oh my gosh, the Truckers. I didn't even think about that.
The Truckers win.
The Truckers literally had the last say.
And we are live. What's up, guys? I'm so excited, Frank, for this. We are finally doing it.
Yeah, buddy. We're doing it. Welcome to our first episode. Actually, is it our first episode?
Is it? It kind of really isn't our first episode. At least not our first try.
Wait, who are you?
Oh, what's up, guys? I'm Kalani.
And Frank.
And we are the Blockbuster Braddahs.
Braddahs. Right on. Yeah, welcome to the show, man. We're super excited.
Super stoked. We're super stoked. But as Frank was saying, this isn't our first rodeo. This isn't our first try at this thing. It's
this is our second rodeo.
Yeah.
This is our first documented rodeo. I don't know. The wound still seems pretty fresh, but
it is. It was and I don't know the exact date, except it was like 22 weeks before Endgame released, because we were we're gonna start with the Marvel series, call it The Road to the End, where we we watched every single Marvel movie up until Endgame's release.
Dude, we didn't even get through the first movie in the Marvel series. We had seen all the Marvel movies, but we're just like, hey man, you know what would be awesome? And I think it was after we went and saw Civil War together or something. We went to the theater, and after we came out of the theater, we were cracking jokes, and we are just like, dude, it would be awesome if we did a podcast.
Yes.
We should watch all of the Marvel movies in the chronological order, talk about it, and then we'll end with Endgame. It'll end by the time Endgame comes out. So, you know, Kalani and I, we both have families, and we had to like juggle all kinds of stuff. We finally came down to, we watched Iron Man 1. And we're like, okay, this is it. We watched it. We took notes. I show up at his house at like 9 o'clock at night, and he's got his whole system decked out with the microphones and stuff. And like, we talked for 3 hours, and it was just like gold. Like,
it was gold.
It was gold. It was amazing. It was just like rose petals dripping from our lips. Anyway, 3 hours in, we're feeling great. And we look down at the recording. And what happened, Kalani?
For some reason,
what happened?
I looked down and it wasn't recording anymore. And then like it had saved, it had like an hour, I think. But then when I went to save it, it wouldn't save it. I guess it like timed out or something, but long story short, we lost all that. But
bro, it's like in Hawaii, cooking rice is one of the things that you're all supposed to do. You have to cook the rice. Somebody in your house has to make sure there's a pot of rice always cooked in your house. It's like sitting down at the dinner table and telling your kid, go get the pot of rice so we can eat. And they realized they didn't press cook.
They didn't press cook.
Yeah.
Yes, and I did not press cook that night, but I pressed cook tonight, and the recording like sign is right above Frank's head, so I can tell that it is indeed recording. If you're listening to this was a success.
So far, it's a success. We'll see 3 hours in. I know that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
we should probably talk about the movie that we're gonna do. I know we gave you some great hints. What was it? If you did see the trailer, we gave hints. We didn't tell you what movie it was, but we gave hints of what movies it was gonna be. We gave Vroom, Vin Diesel, and The Quick and the Angry. So you probably guessed it. We're doing Pacifier. No,
dude, I saw the poster for that movie after finishing this movie.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
And I was like, should I watch this right now? But it was like midnight, and I was like, I don't know. We might have to add that to our list.
I
But
think
we're
so.
not doing the Fast and
No,
Furious tonight. We're
not
doing
this
the
one.
Fast and Furious. So
Well,
our first season.
it's
This
going to be.
season,
Go ahead.
yeah, this whole first season is going to be about the Fast and Furious universe, galaxy, whatever you want to call it. And
I'm so excited.
if we had a thesis statement for this season, we need to figure out how this franchise went from stealing VCR combos to nuclear submarines and tanks. I don't know how that happened. I honestly, have you seen all of the movies in the series?
I have not, and that is one of the reasons why I'm pretty excited to do this, because I haven't seen them. So after Tokyo Drift, I was kind of like, I seen the first three. The first one I watched again recently, right. And then 2 I watched most of, I think. And then I watched Tokyo Drift. And then after that, I wasn't interested. But apparently, I hear they're pretty good.
Yeah, the new ones are insane. So we'll get there. I saw the first one. The Fast and Furious came out in 2001. And I was 20 years old. I saw it in the theater. I think I only saw it that one time, or I might have seen it again like a couple years after that. But I haven't revisited it because why would I?
Why?
So watching it
Unless
last night honestly was like opening a time capsule. It was crazy. It was so many things. We'll talk about it, but
early 2000s.
It was really crazy. I don't understand the order of the movies. I thought that they were chronologically numbered, but Kalani just recently told me that the internet, in its infinite knowledge, has revealed that the series doesn't follow the numbers, and there's a different order to it. So we're going to be watching it in that order. And there are even some prequels that weren't theatrically released that are living on the internet somewhere. So we're gonna go find those, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a prequel to the first movie, and I think it was about Han. And I only know Han from the Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift, right.
But apparently there is a prequel with him in it, and I wasn't able to find it.
Series about Han.
Well, he was in it. I don't know. I think it was about him. We have to look it up. I'll try and find it so we can kind of bring it up. But but today,
we'll find that. We're not talking about that today.
No. But anyway, today, what are we talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about 2001. Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, Michelle Rodriguez. Those are the only people that I know the names of. And there's and others, Johnny Tran.
And others. And Johnny Tran and his boy Lance.
And Lance,
I think, was underrated. But
Lance was underrated. We'll talk about Lance. So we should get started. All right. Did you get the length of time for how long the movie is?
I did not. What? Yeah, let's
let me look it up real quick.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I want to say an hour 30 was the end of the car chase scene. I remember that.
Is hour 20, I think, is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
It's not as long as Hobbs and Shaw. I'll tell you that much, man. Yeah. I was done with Hobbs and Shaw when we watched that in the theater. I was just like, when they went to Samoa, I was just like, is this the end? No, it's not. Yes. Okay, so 106 minutes, and it came out at 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah. So I don't know what other movies Vin Diesel was doing around that time and Paul Walker were doing, but they were the hot enchiladas at the time, right? So
yeah, they were.
Yeah, so they were the ones. But so let's get into it. The movie starts.
Vin Diesel was in Saving Private Ryan.
He wasn't Saving Private Ryan, but have you seen Saving Private? We might need to watch Saving Private Ryan for the show too.
We can do a war movie series.
He's like a young boy in that movie. He's not.
He's not Vin Diesel.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah.
Oh,
So okay, so the movie starts.
okay.
Movie starts.
Yeah.
Starts off on the docks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, I thought I was watching Transformers with that intro with the logo popping up, but
It had a little Michael Bay flavor.
yeah,
With the intro.
but
It starts out at the docks. I can't remember if it was daytime or nighttime, but regardless,
it was daytime.
Which is a weird time to have a crime. So it cuts to, and I have to pause the movie in the first 15 seconds because the movie starts off with like a shipping container that's filled with Panasonic VCR TV combos. And I even looked it up. It was their Panasonic 20-inch TV VCR combos, PV M930. So I was just like, okay, all right.
We gotta check it out. Okay.
So remember that model number because I'm pausing it and I'm counting it. I was like, okay, you got DVD players, you got VCR combos, you got camcorders.
Mm-hmm.
So the next shot is a stevedore on his phone, on his flip phone, mind you, telling some dude, oh man, I got a real money load here. So I'm just like, all right, money load. So I jump on eBay and I'm typing in the, combo PV M930 Panasonic. And the average sold price today is $34. So I estimated, okay, there's 100 boxes in there. There's $3,400 worth of material in there. What's this guy calling?
Yeah.
I mean, when you think payoffs, how much of that $3,400 is this guy getting?
Right.
And then how many other? You got the truck driver to pay. You got the crane operator. I mean, you got the security guards. After all said and done, man. I mean, unless you're handing out these combos as.
Yeah.
Dude, That was just the first thing that I noticed, and I was just like, "It's gonna be a good movie."
Yes. No. As soon as I seen the flip phone, and and I forgot because I watched it a long time ago too, so I forgot some stuff, and I was like, Shannon and I were like, my wife Shanna, we were like, is there drugs in there? Like, it's got to be drugs in there, right? There's got to be something going on. I mean. Those are TV VCR combos. It's not something to steal. I guess even back then, man, I was just like,
I mean, this is 2001.
Dad, we got DVDs now. Right?
there were no iPhones yet. That came out in 2007. But so remember that magic number, $3,400 cash.
$3,400. Okay.
I'm gonna loop back to that.
Okay.
When somebody said something later on in the movie, when the FBI.
I
know. I feel the same way.
Yes, we have a guest.
You got a guest crier. So
and the guy was like I don't know, he reminded me of like Andrew Dice Clay or something. The dog guy was like, he's just out there like in the wide open, just like, hey, there's a truck to steal, you wanna give me my cut, just in front of everybody.
I mean, the thing is, it was only one truck. It wasn't even like.
I know. Yeah, I thought that was funny too.
I mean, it wasn't even computers and stuff.
Yeah,
so anyway, I guess it makes sense now. He makes the call during the day, but like any good criminals, they wait until nighttime and like cut to the next shot, which just made me laugh out loud. Which is it's nighttime on the docks, and you've got these 3 ninja Honda Civics that come pulling up, like.
Yep.
I mean, why make a car? So there's 3 Ninja Honda Civics that come out all blacked out tint. They've got this neon green.
Yes,
LCDs,
that's what we were saying too.
LEDs underneath, like glowing. Just like,
yes.
Yeah. That's pretty inconspicuous, guys.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Let's hide. Let's hide out in plain sight. I know.
Just chasing this one truck full of VCR combos, and I mean, like they do cool stuff. I mean, they climb out with harpoon guns while wearing motocross helmets, which makes no sense. I mean, I'm gonna wear a helmet that you can see my entire face.
Yeah. It was the safety for jumping from the car to the truck. Yeah. With that. No, yes, and the guys, I don't know. the guy's name was Mike White, the truck driver. I think he did a really good job of passing out after getting shot with a dart gun.
Yeah, dude.
These guys have dart guns.
So they've got like Batman. They've got Batman technology, basically,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
So these goons with the motocross helmet shoot the truck with a harpoon gun, multiple harpoons.
Yes.
And it makes like a tether line for them to climb onto the truck while everybody's still moving and stuff.
The grappling hook.
It's total grappling hook action. But the goon climbs into the truck, and yeah, he's getting beaten with. I thought the driver was hitting the goon with an axe, and I was like, yeah, this truck driver is hitting a guy with an axe. I forgot that's the kind of movie that we're gonna watch. But it was a baseball bat, and I forgot that this movie has absolutely no blood until maybe the end of the movie. I think they had a limit to how much blood they could do. So
yes.
Oh yeah. So you get shot with this Bruce
PG-13,
Wayne.
that's why.
Like he like I feel like Morgan Freeman made this dart gun, but like it's just like this. It's like this T1000 that just like knocks the driver out. Yeah. So
but he did a good job. He just was like passing out.
Yeah. Props to Mike White. Yeah, it's impressive that you got the driver's name. And I feel like this was the first movie that I've seen where a car drives under the trailer of a truck, and it's been imitated many times since then. So yeah, that props to the movie. That was super cool when the Honda goes under the trailer and it switches over to the other side. They do it another time in the movie later on, but
so I don't think that I really wish, because when I first saw that was like my favorite part, because I wanted to try that so bad. But I don't think there are any cars / truck combo where that's possible, is there? Where it's possible to drive?
You know, when I saw it, I was just like, I don't know if there's that much clearance under the container trucks, but I mean,
apparently, I'm just gonna live the dream.
There were a lot of things going on. Yeah, it was Hollywood.
But I always wanted to do that.
Truck driver happens. VCRs are stolen. It's like the crime of the century. I mean, I thought I was watching Heat for a second, but next shot is LA, and enter Paul Walker, aka Brian Earl Spillner, aka Brian O'Connor. We'll talk more about that serial killer name in a little bit, but it's weird because he has this awesome green Toyota Supra, like back in 2000, right? That was the car. Yeah,
it was
still a car.
A 95 Eclipse.
Oh, it was an Eclipse. He had
the green
Supra.
one.
Is it a Supra later? Is the orange one?
Yes, the orange one is
always
Supra.
an Eclipse.
Yeah.
Oh, shame. So yeah, it's a green Eclipse with all these O'Reilly Checker Auto Parts.
Yeah.
Side, man. And it pulls up, and it's funny because, I mean, he's in this empty parking lot, and he decides to show his stuff to somebody. I don't know who he's showing off to, and he's testing himself, and he guns it, and he loses control while he's driving in a straight line. I don't know. I don't know if this is like, okay, we're gonna see him get better. He's gonna be able to drive in a straight line by the end of the movie. But he was just, I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was funny. I was pretty impressed with the 95 Eclipse. It was pretty dope. That was a nice car.
Well, I guess it was his like final audition before his special driving training.
Yes.
Unsupervised.
Yeah.
Just like...
No, it's true. And then we'll get into it later on, but people let him know that he is an amateur.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder too, because for those of you who somehow have not seen this movie or any of the movies
spoiler alert, sorry.
Spoiler alert, here it comes. Spillner is an undercover LAPD officer. Yes. I'd like to believe that he was just like a straight-laced, normal speaking guy that had to learn how to sound like a surfer.
Yes. So, as I was watching this, another thing, as I was watching this, I was like, this is kind of like Point Break 2. Like, I had that. I had that feel the whole time. I was like, this is Point Break.
It's
like,
I mean, I haven't
uh,
seen Point Break for as long as I haven't seen Fast and the Furious, but like it's the
yeah,
same thing.
yeah. Like
You know,
Dom is
the friend, the leader,
yeah. Dom is Patrick
Patrick
Swayze.
Swayze.
Yep.
Yeah,
And Brian is Keanu Reeves.
Keanu. Yeah,
That's pretty much
totally.
what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't there another movie too that was it Terminal Velocity or oh no, I'm still thinking of Point Break where they're skydiving too.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
They
This
should have
was
stuck to one extreme sport in that movie. It was like surfing. That's all. I don't
no
know why I
the
remember the skydive.
yeah, the mistake was that they didn't do 9 more movies after that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They could have. They could have. I mean,
They could have.
because that's what happened with this one.
Thank goodness they didn't. They remade Point Break though. I didn't see the remake.
Yeah, because we needed John Wick. If they did that, we might not have gotten John Wick. So
You know, I feel like everything has happened for a reason so that we have John Wick now. I'm
yes,
totally
I think so.
John Wick franchise is one
Are
of
we
my
doing
favorites.
that one day?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
it's not going to be a very interesting episode because it'll be like, oh, and then John Wick shoots that guy, and then he shoots
Yeah,
that
and
other
they
guy,
shoot that
and
guy.
the other guy goes to shoot him, and then he deflects it, but then he stabs him in the eye, and then he shoots him. And it's like that could be any of the John Wick movies.
Yeah. This is
and then
true.
he's excommunicated. Yeah, I'll still do it.
Yeah. I'm open.
Don't think I won't,
I'm open to
Kalani.
do
Don't think I won't. So
Don't say I
yeah,
won't, because I will.
oh man, this lady behind me, she's being real patient with me. Forgot what her name was. Karen, Jennifer,
Karen,
in the last
Jennifer,
episode.
we did something.
She's still there. She's quarantining with me. So yeah, I mean, take us to the next shot. Brian's hungry, so he gets in his also, I mean, a special edition truck, the Ford F-150 Lightning.
I really like that truck.
The red
I'm
Lightning.
in this
truck.
for the cars mainly, but yes,
You're a bit of an
Lightning.
enthusiast. Yeah.
But you know, I don't know that much.
Lightning. Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna be embarrassed because like I'm gonna say yeah, that's a nice Chevy Nova, but it's like a Japanese car. Like
I want to say that they did a really they really tried to force the exposition down your throat. She's like, hey, if you've never seen a car, I'm gonna have this guy explain it to you right now. You're gonna like explain all the parts that you're missing.
Yes.
You're dumb if you don't know this. So
which brings us to this part of the market, right? And I just want to introduce my son. That's over there. Yeah.
Dominic Toretto, your son.
Yes. No. Yeah. So they go to this marketplace, and I did something else before this, and I watched the what are those trailers? Honest trailers or the movie Sin, the movie Sin one. Right. Yeah, and they go to this market, and so I got to give credit. You know, I didn't think of this myself, but they go to this market, and that is never seen. That they run this market, but nobody's running it for the rest of the movie. Right. Hey, don't you have to go run a market?
What I was thinking as I was watching the movie, I was like, I forgot that they have a market. Because we only see it in this one scene.
The one scene, and then they have a garage. So another thing pointed out is why do they have to rob if they have like a looks successful business? There was a anyway, we'll get into all that. But
yeah, I know define success. That bodega that they're running is I don't know. Nobody's buying in it. Nobody likes the tuna here. So yeah, he shows up. He pulls up in his Lightning, and you got Mia, Dominic Toretto's sister. I don't know her real name, but Dominic Toretto is the ringleader of this gang. But Mia, Dom's sister, is manning the counter, and Brian comes in and the banter about the tuna.
Yep, with his big blue eyes comes in.
Apparently, that's exactly what both my wife and I were saying. Like, dang, did you notice that Paul Walker had blue eyes? I never noticed.
Photoshop.
Like, that's all I noticed now. Like, I was like, dang. Yeah,
I
whatever
know.
tuna sandwich you want. So apparently he's been eating these tuna sandwiches for 3 weeks, and he's been making this poor lady, cut the crust off. And
The crust. He's a tough guy.
yeah,
He doesn't like his crust.
so Dom, he's basically casing the joint, right? He's
Yeah.
trying to
He's trying to
find
get.
his in with Dom, right?
Yeah.
Because he's investigating these ninja car robberies,
Yeah.
right? Because apparently these VCRs are of utmost value, which we'll get
Hmm.
to in a little bit. So like
Yeah.
Dom gets up to get a drink. He's in the back, and Brian's keeping an eye on him while he's eating his tuna
Yeah.
sandwich and hitting on Dom's sister in front of him,
Yeah.
right? I mean, this is Dom. You know that he knows his backstory.
Yeah.
So like one thing that I noticed, and confirm this with me if you know, but when he stands up on the wall, there's a big wooden fork and spoon, like in like an
Oh.
X.
Okay. I didn't notice that.
And
That's a good
and a
catch.
bunch of my friends that are particular, background, just like, oh yeah, no, our culture, everybody has that. In Filipino culture, basically, my Filipino friends
Oh,
are just like, yeah, man. Every way in your house, you have to have the fork and the spoon. I was like, is Dominic
I have heard
Filipino?
that. I have heard that before.
Is
Uh,
Toretto a Filipino
he's a
name? I just thought
Filipino.
it was funny. Is he? I
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't know.
Toretto.
I guess.
Toretto's not Filipino. Yeah.
No.
No, it
He's
was just
Italian,
funny to
right?
me. I
Isn't
was
he
just like,
Italian?
I bet you the family that owns the bodega just left
Yeah,
that up
it's
there.
just after that he's like, we're gonna put that in the movie. We're gonna get it in
He
there.
just they
Yeah,
don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I
So
know. No, yeah. No, I noticed that. I didn't
yeah.
notice the fork and spoon, but what I did notice about that part was that that awkward stare that they had. That he like caught him looking at him, and Dom gave him the "What are you looking at, weirdo?" and then
Yeah.
Brian's like, "What's up?" I feel like that was a very awkward moment between them, but
That was an awkward moment. I felt
yeah,
awkward, right? I
I
looked at
feel
my wife.
awkward.
I looked at Shayna at the same time. What's going on over here? Yeah. So anyway, the rest of Dom's gang shows up, right? And
Mm,
I want to point out that the music in this movie is super dated. I mean,
yeah.
80% of this movie is soundtracked by Ja Rule, and the other 20% is, I want to say, what's the name of that group? Um, uh, they sang Butterfly in the
Mm,
early 2000s. That's what the rest of the music
that's
sounds like
yeah,
in this
yeah,
movie. Yeah.
yeah. Besides
And
the
like,
all the techno and the partying and
oh yeah. That's all. Yeah, the techno and the butts. Yeah. I mean, that's standard operating procedure for these movies now. But like,
yes, I would
and
think so.
when they pull up in their Nissan Skylines and stuff, and the Jetta,
Yeah,
and they all get out with their like Viking boots and stuff,
yeah,
and like, yeah,
yeah. Did you notice that
like
they're the primary colors? Their cars were the primary colors.
I didn't.
As they pulled up. My wife noticed that, but
Dude, it's so funny. They pull up. It's
yeah,
Vince, Lance, Letty, and Jesse that pull up, right?
yes,
So
yeah, and
they've
we
got these supercars also, and
and
they one by one
immediately,
get out.
yeah,
Yeah, dude,
immediately you know
it's
who
so
they are.
funny. It's so funny, right? They introduce themselves because they're already conversing. But
Yeah,
did you notice that when Jesse gets out of the car, he's already talking
yeah,
about what's happening in Vince's car, because I guess
yes,
Vince has tuned his
yes,
car wrong, and
right,
Jesse's like a Rain Man of
yes,
cars.
yeah, yeah. He's the car smart guy. You
Yeah,
already
yeah.
know that Jesse's a car smart guy. Vince is the tough guy that apparently likes Mia. We find that out as
Vince.
he walks in, and Letty's the tough girl that is into Dom, and that's what we find out in like the first 10 seconds of them being there. Right? So they
I
did a good
appreciate
job
the
with that
writing.
character
I,
development.
it all happened really quickly. So
Yeah,
like, so Jesse's rambling off like all the things that are wrong with Vince's
yeah,
engine, and he's just like, "Oh, we're just gonna tune the NOS timer and
yeah.
tweak this and tweak that." And
Check the rotary spec on the girder
it's
belt.
all fanboy service, right? So
Yeah.
all the import guys in the theater are
Yes.
just like, "Oh yeah, oh I know what that is,
Yes.
yeah." So like,
I was like, oh,
Vince catches sight of Brian eating a sandwich, and like
yeah.
he says something like, what is this guy? Sandwich crazy?
I didn't catch that line. That's a good. I'm gonna add that one.
Dude,
Add that to my repertoire.
yeah.
I love that.
So they go in, and Vince is just eyeballing Brian, and it's total creep level 10,000
Yes.
because Mia's trying to get his attention to get him off of Brian, right? And like, and Vince doesn't even acknowledge her. He just looks at him.
Yeah.
Look good.
Yeah.
So creeps, man. So
It
creeps
is.
in your mesh. He has a mesh tank top on.
He does. He does have a mesh tank top. Yes. The boots in there, the pants, the outfits were very early 2000s, and I appreciate that about that movie. It was
Going back to like how they're making money. I mean, they're obviously not making much money because Dom's goons come in and immediately just like open up snacks and start eating off the shelf.
Yeah.
And Letty asked Dom if, hey, you want a drink?
Yeah.
We're just gonna drink all the profits and eat all the profits because we're making all the money on tuna sandwiches from this one guy, right? Like, yeah.
Although, did you notice that there are two Patreons on the outside? There was a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
There was a guy in a suit sitting there. The other guy was like a skater-looking dude, I think. But there was a guy in a suit. So that guy might be ordering tuna sandwiches too.
I mean,
never know.
He must have been, because she didn't get out any of the ingredients that is needed for a tuna sandwich. Like, she had that tuna sandwich on deck. It was ready.
There you go. I knew you were coming.
Like, she just had a little saran wrap laying on there, and it was sitting out. She's like, I'm just going to take it out of the fridge so it'll be ready for when Blue Eyes comes, right?
Yeah. It's been out for a few days. You might not want it. But anyway.
Yeah. So they end up getting into an altercation, fall outside, and Brian's just like, I got to go. And Vince follows him out and says one of the most iconic lines that I've never forgotten, even though I haven't seen it for like
the best.
It was just like, he's like, when you get out of here, and Brian's just like, I like the tuna here.
I like the tuna here.
And he says, BS, nobody likes the tuna here. Why don't you go down the road to Fat Burger and get a burger and fries for $2.95? First of all, this guy
should have saved him money.
Vince's line. And second of all, good for that actor for learning all of those lines. Or maybe he could have. Dude, it was so funny. Like, he's quoting the menu, some other dude, while wanting to fight him.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I was waiting for Vince to say he was going to call his mom. Yeah. So they get into a fight. They get into a fight, and apparently nobody else can handle it except Dom. So Letty tells Dom to go outside to break it up. And another one of my favorite lines. Dom has so many great lines in this movie.
He does.
His first favorite line for me is, "You embarrass me."
Yeah.
Wow. And everybody just like, everybody just stands off to the side, like, who is this guy? So he's like the godfather of VCR combos, apparently. That's his empire, right?
So my favorite line before that.
VCRs.
Yeah. That's what he does. But no, sorry. Before that, I wrote down that he said this. What did you put in that sandwich? He's like, when they're fighting, it's like
that's equally creepy for your brother to say. I mean,
yeah, I know, but then when he comes up and he's like, he breaks him up and he's like, you embarrass me. Yeah, that was.
I didn't realize I was representing you, but okay, yeah. So he gets his wallet, looks in his license for Brian, and he reads out his name, Brian Earl Spillner, which is like his cover name and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, which is totally like an undercover cop name, right? I mean,
yes. You're a serial killer
and he
or undercover cop.
Right. So he's flexing, and he's just like, you work for Harry, right? Which is like the O'Reillys, like right across the street from Toretto's. So he's like, yeah, I just started. He's just like, yeah, well, you just fired. So the godfather of VCRs has just fired somebody on behalf of an O'Reilly's. Which is pretty powerful.
It is. I know he was.
You just fired a minimum wage worker.
Yeah. Oh
That
no.
just started.
So
Oh no.
this
Harry's will never recover.
you were just fired. Yeah. That definitely was portraying his clout. Yeah, they're like, oh, Dom has clout for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? But during the fight, like, if I just gotta say that if Brian knew just a little bit of jujitsu or like cop fighting, I don't know, like self-defense, he would have ended that fight pretty quickly.
He would have,
just from,
but I feel like,
or maybe he did it on purpose.
He did it on purpose.
Yeah.
I want to say that he did it on purpose because, I mean, I'm not a cop, but like part of their training, I'm sure, is very specific, right? So maybe cops fight like cops. So I don't know.
Oh, so he's like, I'm gonna fight like a street racer.
You fight like a cop. Yeah, I'm gonna fight like a street racer. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how good street racers are at fighting, but they talk a lot of smack in their cars. So they.
I did it also. I also paused it on his license. So the movie takes place in 2001, right? But his license expired in 2000. So could he even get a job with as a driver?
That's a whole nother level, bro. You ran his plates.
Yeah. No. His actual license said that it expired in 2000. Brian's Earl Spillner license. But I'm impressed. He's 6'2", 195 pounds. That was
okay. All right.
That's an impressive specimen.
Were you sizing him up to fight him?
Yeah.
190 pounds. I want to say I'm 6'4". I'm not 190 pounds. But if I was 190 pounds, I'd probably look like a skeleton. So, no, I couldn't be a Brian Earl Spillner.
No.
That's a crazy detail. Good job. Good job, Blockbuster, brother. That's the kind of stuff that people are gonna want to hear. I think you're on something, Kalani. Kalani runs plates and looks at license plates and driver's licenses in movies, guys. So don't try to get anything past Kalani. So the next day, cut to the next day because was it the next day? No, he just walks across the street to Harry's. I feel like he just drives across the street.
Yeah. Well, he's ripping it down the street in his lightning,
He is. And then he actually this is how you know it's not his car. Like, did you notice that he totally cracked the front bumper the body kit of that lightning? How expensive that is. Oh man, if I was the lightning owner who let the movie production use that, he's like, you buying me a new lightning. I'm sorry.
Yep.
That's a special edition, right? They don't sell that at Harry's. So like he walks into Harry's and the manager is just freaking out. Like, what did you do to Dom? And like he says this one line that I cracked up out loud. And what did he say? He said he says Dominic drives whatever Dominic drives, he's golden. And kids pay cash.
Like,
and I was just like, is this guy like a 1920s carnival like barker? We'll get him in with the bearded lady.
Yeah.
The
kids play cash. Yeah. Yeah.
So he's having a nervous breakdown when Brian comes in, but he tells Brian, which is also really funny because we talked about like this isn't really like a job that you need like I mean you don't need a bachelor's or a master's degree to get a job at Harry's, And he's just like, you know what I told Dom? I told Dom that good help is hard to find. That's why you still have a job. And I was just like, wow, really? I mean, like, you literally could ask somebody off the street to just go move that box over there.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got quality undercover cops working for you. But,
he almost blew it. And at this point, you don't know that he's an undercover cop unless you've seen it 20 years ago, right? And I
didn't put that together. I just assumed the whole time that I'm watching the movie.
So like, hey, as I was watching, I told myself, don't think he's a cop yet because we don't know that yet, right? So my thing is like, why is he talking to his boss like that? Why is he telling his boss?
Just like, go ahead.
Oh yeah, why is he telling his boss, "Hey, I need 2 of these nitros by tonight"? It's like
No,
I
he
thought.
became James Bond. He,
Yeah.
he was just like talking to Q, and he's just like, I need NOS. I need 2 bottles of NOS by
Yeah.
tonight. Like, uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. You
Yeah.
think you have you been sniffing the NOS? I don't know what's going on, but like, dude, my favorite line when he was just like, I need NOS. I need 2 bottles. Harry just like, for the audience's sake, this is the kind of writing that's in this movie. He's just like, you'll blow yourself to pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen you drive. You're an
He
amateur
became like
once again.
Doc Brown from Back to the Future. Nobody.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but he's walking around dictating what he needs by tonight. I was just like,
Yes.
yeah, that's okay. Go move that box.
Yeah.
So,
It's like, you know what? You are fired. Get out of here. Yeah.
so there's no other exposition on how he knew that there was going to be a get together that night. I mean, he didn't overhear it
No.
while he was fighting Vince or anything. So we don't know. I mean, I feel like the editing
I think
just
there's a
happened.
lot. Yes.
Yeah.
There might
So
be
so
some deleted scenes.
cut to nighttime at the cleanest abandoned warehouse that you've ever
Yes.
seen, and
Ever.
also well lit. It was
Yes.
just like lit up everywhere. The inside of the warehouse were lit up, the outside was lit up, and it was just it was import tuner cars everywhere. It was pretty
Yeah.
much just
That's part of the
showcasing
coordination.
peacocking
They
around.
are very coordinated people. Like they're just like, hey, we need Hector, your guys, which we get introduced to Hector now. We need you guys to bring the lights, light up this place before we get there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I got lights under my car. I got lights in my car. You gotta light up that warehouse over there. You know what I mean? So like, so they cut to the classic, which becomes the standard Fast and Furious intro scene. Every Fast and Furious movie has to have one.
Yes.
That usually starts with like with ankle shots that pan upwards, and then and then people randomly looking in other people's hoods. And
yes.
this one, the blocking on this was amazing. Like the director did a great job of segregating everybody by ethnicity into the Asians were on one side, and then you had Hector and the Mexicans on another side, and then there was just like a ragtag. Oh, there was Ja Rule and his group, and so there only those 3 ethnicities existed until Dom shows up. Well, Brian shows up.
The Filipino shows up.
Yeah. So so Brian shows up in his green Eclipse, and everybody's like, "Ooh, ah!" And Hector comes up and very uncharacteristically, is very friendly and strikes up a conversation with Brian. Which also made me laugh out loud because I've never seen a Honda Civic like tuner racer on hydraulics.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
like,
yeah, because that's functional.
Just like
as a racer, I think.
I mean, I'm not a racer, but
I'm not either.
I'm pretty sure that you need to keep the car as close to the ground as possible.
Yeah.
Without
I'm pretty sure
mounts, right?
the shocks and hydraulics don't go together. I don't know. I really don't know, but
yeah.
I think you need shocks.
So you've got Hector and the Mexicans. You got Ja Rule, who's named Edwin, and he likes to speak about himself in the third person.
He does.
Yeah. You have the unnamed Asians. We'll get a couple of Asian names a little bit later on, but pre-race, there's no names. And then Toretto and his mixed ethnic background group comes in
the Flying V.
And
they're coming in the Flying
V. And he's driving his Mazda RX-7 rotary.
He has an RX-7, a dope RX-7. I would drive that now. Cool. Yeah.
So he pulls in, and I don't know what Dom has done to get like this kind of clout, but I mean, he should.
Yeah. Everybody's after him.
Like the Godfather of.
Even Jaru's like, you gotta wait a minute.
What he says, he literally gets out and he just like opens his arms and people applaud. I was just like, he's like the of
he is.
Import tuning.
Yeah.
So yeah, he gets out and he starts flexing. I think he's like, he challenged everybody to a race, right? 2K buy-in. Yep. And then he notices Brian in his green car.
Yeah.
And Brian, with some of the worst acting in the movie, comes up and he's just like, I don't have any cash, but I got my car. I got my pink slips. I'm just like, oh boy, okay,
Oh
all right,
gosh.
good try. That was, I mean,
Yeah.
was it the end of the night when they filmed this scene? It must have been the end of the night because that
Must
was
have
like
been.
take 72 for Paul Walker. But yeah, so he offers up his pink slip, and Jesse, I feel like, is just a character whose job is to explain the technicalities of every car engine to the audience
Yeah.
who doesn't know anything about cars.
Yeah, that's
So
his
I
job.
like how
You have one job, Jesse.
he opens up Brian's hood and he's like calling out all these things. I don't know if I took it down. I couldn't even take it down. It was just like cold air intake, and he was just like naming all these things, and everybody's like, oh, ah, gas cap, oh, car keys, oh, and
Hubcaps.
so I
What?
guess. So I guess that qualifies him because Jesse gave a thumbs up,
Yeah.
and yeah, and my wife noticed that in addition to the cars, this whole scene like was just midriff city, like every girl in the
Yeah.
scene.
No, that was. I like the character development for Letty when Dom is openly just talking to a couple girls, hand on their waist, and like
Right.
she comes up and is like, "Why don't you girls pack it up before I leave tread marks on your face?" That was her line.
Yeah. That was. She got a paycheck for that. That was a good line. Yeah.
That was an awesome line.
So yeah, so the race starts. They dig out to the race, and it's so funny because everybody convoys to like downtown LA or like I don't know, they're near a residential area. But what's so
Yeah.
funny is that it's nighttime, so obviously they needed some wide shots, and you can clearly see helicopters that are hovering over the street, the long straightaway that they're driving to, shining spotlights down
Yeah.
onto it so that you can see the scene. I just thought that was pretty funny.
No, it is.
But yeah,
It is.
so they set up the race, and this boomer Pizza Hut driver pulls up, and he's being
Yeah.
blocked by the race guys. Just like, what are you guys doing? They're like, take your pizza somewhere else, old man. And I was just like, dude, this guy's just trying to make a living, just like
Yeah,
Brian
but-
Spooner is at
But he,
Harry's.
but two things. The pizza guy is the only guy that's affected by these racer guys, and
Yeah,
and two, that pizza boy was actually I don't know, Rob Cohen. He's the director. Yeah, that's a cameo
Okay,
of the director.
all right. Well, then I'll allow it. That was
Yes.
cool. That was cool. Yeah. So everybody, I mean, like up to this point, I've only seen like 2 people use cell phones. And you know, we're talking about it, my wife and I, was like 2001, people had cell phones.
Yes.
It's just, I don't think people use them as much as we use our phones, right? So like, I think Lance is using a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
when he's listening to Police Scanner. And another great thing that the director did or the writers did, because people are dumb, right? That's audiences are dumb. We're just like, okay, the only police code people know is 187. So like,
Yeah.
cops are getting called to a 187. We're good to go. Like, oh,
Murder.
man,
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. It was so funny. And then then it cuts to everybody lining up in their cars, and still I like that the unnamed Asian guy is just playing Gran Turismo on
Gran Turismo 2.
in his car.
Yep.
Or is it 2? Yeah, Gran Turismo. Oh,
Gran Turismo 2.
dude, see? Kalani's here for the details. I'm here for the big picture. Just like, it was brown, and you're just like, it was chocolate. Okay.
And together we make Captain Planet.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about the race.
It was fast. It was a little longer than 10 seconds, but
It had Hollywood computer technology. It was so funny with the laptop situation that was going on.
Yes, and yes. As it builds up into it, Brian is getting his NOS ready, flipping up screens and everything, and they show how amateur he is again. But when he pulls up to the line and he like crosses over, and he's like, oh, I gotta reverse now, and then so he's trying to get all his gear ready. Jaru is like messing with some girls, and Dom is just starting he's just cool, calm, and collected, just starting up his music, some dope sound
Yeah,
system.
I think his buttons, his switches, NOS switches and stuff are all his tank setup is all hidden, right? So
Yeah.
he has them. He has like his cigarette lighter is like one of his buttons or
Yeah.
something.
Is the NOS
Like,
button. Yeah.
and
It's all under his
and
seat.
I think Paul Walker is like running like the Harry special with like
Yeah. Yeah.
the CSI laptop with all the pie
You're
graphs
right.
and stuff. And like, it's super funny because when they're racing, I mean, I guess this is all set up to show that racing is an art, right? So like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not just about driving in a straight line off the line. It's knowing when to shoot your NOS, right? So
Right.
like, so everybody's like pacing themselves, but Paul Walker is not. It I was amazed at his increased ability at driving because I mean earlier in
Right.
the movie we clearly just saw that while he's looking straight ahead, he's unable to control the car and they'll spin out.
Yeah.
In this race, driving like a foot away from another three cars,
Yeah.
he's able to like actively be typing on a laptop while driving
Yes.
like 90
While
miles
driving.
an hour in a straight line. Yeah,
Yes.
that was pretty impressive. So props to him
Yeah.
for
A
that
day later
first race.
is
Like, but yeah,
pretty
but it
impressive.
wasn't enough. It wasn't
No,
enough.
he
No,
did not.
because he
Because
shot his NOS too early, man.
yeah, but he passed
But
Dom
not,
and he was all confident, and then Dom is just like again,
well,
just cool, calm and
his car's
collected.
falling apart.
Yeah.
The manifold was overheating, right? So
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
plate fell out from the bottom and his engine smoking. So like, you know,
Right.
for the nerds out there, they're all just like, oh, he's done. He's done. So the race is over, Dom wins.
Yeah.
And everybody's standing there and Brian's got this stupid like
Goofiest face. Like his face is just, I don't know if he's like trying to act nervous or like sad and happy. Like I didn't know what he was trying to go for
I
during
don't
that
think
time.
anybody did, and that's why I want to say Dom's line was just it was improv where you're just like, what are you smiling at?
Yeah.
What does he say? Dude, I almost had you.
Dude, I almost had you. And that was
You
the
almost
face I'm
had
talking
me.
about. So goofy. Yes.
You never had me. And what does he say?
You never had your car.
You never had your car. That was a good line. That was a
Yes.
really good line. But
Yes.
then he should have quit while he was ahead.
Yes, because then he's like granny shifting,
like,
not double clutching when you should.
again, I was like, let's just leave the exposition to like the mansplaining to Jesse, you know, the car talk guys. Just, you know. So yeah, he you know, he reigns supreme, and you get that famous DVD box cover shot of him with his arms open, and
oh yeah,
right on time.
It's
Right
like
on
he dropped the
time,
mic.
Lance. Yeah, he dropped the mic. Right on time, Lance is like, cops, cops, cops.
Oh, Vince.
Yeah, Vince does. And dude, all these black and white Crown Vics just come out of nowhere. There's so many. It's like the entire police force comes out. And you know what's crazy? None of them pull anybody over. It's so funny. If you watch closely, they're all just driving past everybody. Like,
yes.
everybody.
They could have stopped every single one that was still parked, but they drove
all they had to do
right past.
was form a line of cars across.
I guess not all the cops in LA went to the 187. There were some, if not all of them, that stayed to find the street racers.
What happens off camera, because we see them driving in straight lines a lot. I think they just spin out, right? Like Paul Walker does.
Right.
So everybody's running away, and Vin Diesel has this secret, also well-lit parking garage that's completely empty and unlocked, and he just goes and parks his car there and comes out and stuff, and he's walking down the street putting on his jacket, and a black and white drives by, and this black and white's going like 50 miles an hour. It's flying past, and amazingly, the police officer recognizes Dom. Just like at a glance, and he's just like, Dominic Toretto. So Dom takes off on foot, outrunning a cop car on foot, mind you, because that's who he is. He lives his life
and very far, because
dude, he's a 10-second man. Like, so like he takes off, and he gets cornered in an alley, but who comes to get him? Brian Earl Spillner.
Yes.
And mind you,
last person
I thought his car was about to explode.
Yes.
Like not
And now
5
he's
minutes
about to go
earlier.
into a high-speed chase.
Not only is a high speed chase, like he takes jumps in this car.
Yes.
He picks up Don. Like he's taking jumps like off San Francisco size hills. Like
Yeah.
he's flying,
He must
and
have
I
made a stop
swear
at Aries.
the floor of the passenger side fell out, right? So like,
Yes. Dom's
shouldn't
feet are
Dom be in
dangling.
there like holding his knees up?
Yeah, yeah.
So none of that. You don't see any of that because,
No,
well,
you
I
don't
mean,
see that.
Dom, you know what it is. I got it. Okay, so here's what happened.
Dom is powering it with his
So
feet.
Dom is Flintstone powering the car. The car doesn't
Yes.
work anymore, and Dom is running.
That's how much
Wow.
clout he has.
This
That's
is
the power
this
of
is
Dom.
Dom. Yeah. So they escape because Dom runs so fast,
Yeah.
and they make it out. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's funny. So like during that time, it's so funny. Dom is Dom is like, I never thought that you'd be the one to get me out. And he
Yeah.
starts like striking up an interview with
Yeah.
Brian like immediately,
Like
just
a got you interview too. He's just not.
he was just like, you ever done time? You ever did this?
They tell me the truth. I
How
know
long did you
already.
work at your last job? And he's like, Harry treating you right? It's like weird. Like, kind of health benefits he giving you? Like, he's just rattling off all these questions. I'm not telling you any of this. Anyway, Brian lies. He said he never went to prison. And then Dom is like, about those 2 years, two stints in
Yeah.
juvie.
Yeah. It's like,
And what's his reason? His
what?
reason is that like you can find it all on the internet, Brian.
Yeah.
You can find anything.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Especially
wow,
in 2001.
dang.
Yes.
So Dom is like a bodega VCR king and hacker that runs super fast.
I think
like,
Jesse did the hacking, but he's the guy that does.
we don't know
He
that.
does.
All we know is that Jesse's good with car parts. I mean, for all we know,
He did
that's
have a
what Dom
floppy
was
disk
doing.
later. Well,
Oh my gosh, the floppy disk. We'll get to that. So yeah, so these guys are like really vibing on this first date of an evening that they're having, and they, just when you think the night's coming to an end, what's gonna happen? Don't they? Is that when they run into Johnny Tran?
it is. It is. And
Yeah. So
well, we also
they get
find out that
followed
Dom
into
is.
it.
Well, before that, we find out that Dom will not go back to prison.
Oh yeah. So it's funny because like Dom is like a hardened criminal, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know why they just gave him 2 years. Like it
Yeah.
was like I did 2 years in Lompoc. It's like
Yeah. Good behavior, I
that's why
guess.
you're never going back to prison. You
Yeah.
only did 2 years and you're never going back to prison. I mean,
I wonder what
what
happened
did
in
he do
prison
for 2 years? At this point in the movie, I'm just like, what did he do for 2 years? It's the VCRs, right? I mean, it's just Grand Theft VCR combos.
No, it
Because
was
like I feel
because
like if you murder somebody or like severe assault, you get more than 2 years.
yeah, because that's what it was, right? He beat the dude up. That's why he went to
Well, yeah,
prison.
later on, we'll get to that part. But I just thought it
But
was so
at
funny
that
that
point, you're thinking he
it's
steals
like,
VCRs. Why is he going? Why did he go to prison?
I mean, but
Yeah,
2 years
and
just
why is he
wasn't
not
too
going
much.
back? Yeah,
I mean, they had the power. Somebody wrote this. They could have made it like 10 years, But
right.
anyway, maybe because he's too
Yeah.
young, the actor. So
He is.
yeah, so he's
yeah,
never going back.
There is that.
He can't go back. And then
Yeah, so we know that about him now. And then
I don't
we
remember
run
how
into.
they found their way to the restaurant parking lot of Johnny Tran.
Well, no, they were driving in a car that Johnny Tran does not know about. Yet
yeah.
they pull around this car and
Yeah.
and say, "Follow us," because we know that you, Toretto, are in there. Because we have no idea whose car this is. But
Because they could tell by the foot power.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they see his feet.
I recognize that.
From underneath that. It's like, hey,
I recognize those
just
feet.
like the cop recognized him. That's how they recognized him. And then so they actually say follow them, and then they follow them to the it was the T&K Food Mart. That's what it was.
If somebody tells you to follow them, you don't have to follow them.
You don't have to. Yeah, they did have Uzis in their face though.
They did.
There's that.
They did have Uzis. They did. Yeah. So yeah, they follow him there, and it's a really weird interaction between John. We meet Johnny Tran,
and his friend and his cousin Lance with the
cousin
snakeskin
Lance.
pants.
Yes.
Lance
So
with
Lance
the snake pants.
is a snakeskin enthusiast because these pants.
Yes, they're amazing.
These pants are, yeah.
I'm glad.
So I forget what the conversation was. It was something just like we're just measuring each other's stuff and like,
Pretty
and
much.
Johnny Tran and his
Yes.
cousin, and Johnny Tran and his cousin, they dig out. They're just like, I got something for you, right? And
Yeah.
he digs out.
Yeah.
And even Brian Spilner's just like, who's that?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, that's Johnny Tran, blah, blah, blah. They get in the car. They're about to get in the car. Johnny Tran and his entire crew drove down to the end of the road just to turn around and drive all the way back.
They changed their mind.
And then, I mean, he literally he threatened them. Then he left.
Yeah.
And then he came back. And then he did something. So they basically blow up. They shoot Brian's car, Street Fighter 2 style.
Yes.
In between levels where you beat up a car.
Yep.
And they shoot the car
Destroyed
up,
it.
and because of the NOS, there's a beautiful green explosion.
Yes. Lifted the
and
whole
I'm
car
sure
up
there's some,
at once.
I'm sure there's
beautiful.
some nerds out there who just like, actually, NOS burns blue. I don't know. There's green.
Yeah. We do find out that there is something happening in the desert that they're going to be racing, and that what I thought was funny is that Dom was like, "Hey, when are you going to give me a shot at that S2000?" And then later, 2 seconds later, he's like, "You're going to need more than that crotch rocket to beat me." Didn't you just know that he had the S2000?
Yeah.
That was what I figured out. And
so their car's blown up, and Brian's just like, Dom's just like, it's like 20 miles. We've got a 20-mile walk.
Yeah.
So they start talking, or he was like, why don't you tell me what that was all about?
What was that all about?
We don't have enough time. He goes, you got like a 20-mile walk. So at this point, I look at my wife, and I'm just like, we have 3 little boys, and we watch a lot of Disney movies. So we watched Toy Story 4 like a million times. And have you seen Toy Story 4?
No, I have not yet.
You haven't. Well, then you're not going to understand this reference. But basically, there's a scene in Toy Story 4 where Woody and Forky are abandoned and left on the side of the road, and they have to walk home. And it's super far. And I was just like, did Pixar steal this scene from Fast and the Furious?
From Fast and the Furious?
Because it's literally what just happened. Because, like, on this walk, they become best friends. So they start walking.
Nice.
And, like, a second later, they're shown pulling up in a taxi to Dom's house. And Dom's house is, like, pumping with music. Yep. And it's just, like, business as usual. Everybody has forgotten about Dom. Like, the same Dom that everybody was so afraid to lose respect by, they just forgot he existed. It's so crazy. Nice. It's so crazy to me. And he walks in with Brian, and like, it's a classic 2000s party scene. Yeah, exactly. You got Vince on the guitar, on the flying V in the corner playing guitar.
Letty was playing Gran Turismo again.
Just playing Gran Turismo. I mean, real gangster stuff going on. And I think like Mia is up in her room.
Yeah, so we see her before they go in the house.
Yeah. She's like doing paperwork.
Yeah,
maybe she's balancing the books.
I think she's studying.
Like how much tuna she needs to buy.
Is she going to college?
I don't know. Like, it's never explained.
Yeah.
She's just reordering stuff for the store. I don't know.
Apparently she likes Brian though, because she goes and gets ready to. Yeah. We found out later that she doesn't date her friends, her brother's friends, but.
So she's breaking her own rule.
Well, she's already getting ready. She knew. She knew.
So you got this whole thing, like, he goes over to Vince and he's just like, where were you? It's like, oh man, we're just coming to get you after I finished playing this solo.
It's
just so weird. Like, there was no excuse. I mean, I don't care.
They're just like making excuses.
Like, for a movie for a movie franchise that's all about family. these guys just forgot about them. So
Yeah.
he basically, I think the best line was, what is it? He was just like, oh, Vince is just like, why'd you bring this Buster in here?
Yes.
And he was like,
Yes.
the Buster brought me back.
You know,
Buster. Brian's
Dom,
just like, yeah, I'm
you
that
had me
Buster.
at Buster. That was great. But the next line is one of my favorites. It's you can have any beer you want as long as it's a Corona.
Yeah.
uh, I don't know if how that would have worked now, but back then apparently it worked pretty well.
That was the one. Yeah,
But that was actually a I guess a reference to a nod to Henry Ford. And he had this line that he may or may not have said, but you can have any car you want as long as it's black, and that was one of like a quote that's
cool.
that's given to him, and so that was a nod to him.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, little trivia for you. Little trivia for you.
Yeah. Writers snuck that Easter egg in, man. I gotta say that, like, I think some of Paul Walker's best acting was in this scene where he gets the beer and like he like wipes the mouth of it. I was just like, that's better than all the lines that you said so far. Maybe you should just not be talking. I don't know, but it was it was good. It was
just wipe bottles the whole movie.
Yeah. So like, so yeah, I mean, basically Brian's in now, and like he's proven himself, right? Like, and I think he tells him, "Oh yeah, you owe me a 10-second car," right?
Basically, yeah. And
So,
he actually, what I thought was funny was that he asked where the bathroom was, and he said upstairs, on the right.
Upstairs,
it's like,
right next to my.
You have no bathrooms on the first floor in this house. And then he's like, "You still owe me a 10-second car."
Yeah.
And then Vince and the boys were about to pounce on him, and then Mia comes in and sweeps in and saves the day. And then
she's like, "Get me a drink," which is a Snapple, which also dates this movie. Like, dude. And it was so funny because they go into this other room of the house, and like the music is playing really soft because the music is supposedly playing in another room. And like, you know, they add this music to a lot of scenes after the fact, right? When they're filming.
Right. Yeah.
So it's so funny because this room that they're in is quiet, and there's like two other couples that are in the room.
Yeah.
Talking like how we're talking right now, like this far apart, and they're just like miming the whole time. It's just so funny because like
that's true.
Brian is
think
like,
about that one.
There's a dining table in between Brian and Mia, and he's like crossing around the table, and he's talking at a normal volume like this. He's not yelling across, which you would think at a party. And then you got all these mimes like doing their thing around him. It's pretty funny.
That is funny.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I think that's
pretty
it.
Funny.
That's it for the party scene.
That's all I had to.
And then I think this is where it's revealed that he's a cop, right?
Yes, this is where the cops pick him up.
Over.
Yeah.
Right.
They did the whole charade.
Yeah. And they take him up to like this Beverly Hills house.
Yeah.
And it's pretty funny when they go in because they drink like iced cappuccinos.
Yeah.
Like in these huge cups. That was pretty funny. And we're introduced to the chief of the FBI that's collaborating with the LAPD, and like he's just like a real hard nugget. And my favorite line, he's basically saying, you know, like we don't have time to waste on this mission because it's of the utmost importance. And the reason it's of the utmost importance, Kalani, is, let me see. The FBI agent literally says that the DVDs and digital cameras are worth $6 million plus. What was happening in 2001?
Yeah.
$6 million plus. And I was just like, if I had a time machine, I would buy all of. I could take $3,400 right now worth of VCR combos and go back to. I don't even have to go back and get a sports almanac. I can literally go back to 2001 and make $6 million.
Yeah, you're gonna have a big time machine.
It blew my mind. It blew my mind. So, like, not only that, but this FBI agent, you'll hear, like, every time he speaks throughout this movie, he's so concerned about the truckers.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, we're on a tight timeline because if we don't do something about it, the truckers will take things into their own hands. I was just like, I don't know who these truckers are, but, like, the last one that we saw had a bat, and the criminals had harpoon guns.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of organized. I mean, you know, I get it, but like the truckers were just like bigger than the Italian mob. Apparently, you're just like, we don't want the truckers taking things into their own hands. This has to be resolved. Yeah. So and Paul Walker's boss, who's always looking out for him, says this thing like, what does he say? He says Dom has nitrous in his blood and gasoline in his veins. Like, I don't think real people.
That is an
like
awesome. That is an awesome quote. I like
mean,
that one.
Dom is he's stuff of legend if people are saying that about him without being at a retirement party of some sort or giving him some kind of award, and that's part of the speech. Literally just So
we also find out that the car was worth $80,000, and he was agent. I think his name was Agent Bilkins. That was the FBI agent. Agent Bilkins.
The other guy.
That's the FBI guy. That's the head of the FBI. Yeah, that's the agent. About the FBI agent. Right, okay. Got it. Yeah. He's also concerned about the car that was blown up and shot up by Johnny Tran. Right. And $80,000 car. Yeah. I mean, you need a lot of VCRs and Canon recorders to pay for that. But
I mean, do you? You might need a combo. You might need a VCR combo and one camcorder. It sounds like in 2001, this is the currency. I mean,
they were worth a lot.
He's supporting a bodega with these VCR combos. He's running his own garage with these VCR combos. I mean, like, I don't know who he's selling these things to, but like they've got a lot of money. Yeah, so it's almost like a the next few scenes, kind of prefacing it, is kind of like a falling in love montage where Paul Walker is just having all these personal moments with different parts of the gang, except for Vince and what's the other dude's name?
Leon?
Not Jesse. Yeah, Vince and Leon. Who cares about those guys, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not having heart-to-hearts because the next day he shows up at the garage and he's like, he has the
Supra.
He brings in this Supra that's like garbage, right?
Yeah.
And he says, "I got your 10-second car." Like, I thought that I got a genuine laugh out of that. I was just like, "Yeah, that's pretty fun."
Yeah, and Vin and was it Dom is like that's more like a 10-minute car. Right?
Yeah.
The other guy's like, you can push it or tow it across the finish line. Like some good banter there. But
I was like, guys, just spread these good jokes out through the rest of the movie. You're just using them all in as a one shot, but whatever. And then they're writing it off until they open the hood, right? And then Jesse's just like, oh.
But I found out that is the only engine that year had. So there's no reason why Jesse, the master of cars, should have been surprised at all.
Literally on site, he should have been like, "Oh, that's a Supra. That's got a really good engine."
So he should have been.
Yeah, we should take it. Doesn't matter what the body looks like.
Yeah,
it's about the engine, because that's kind of my thing, right?
Yeah. I kind of know cars already. So
it cuts to Jesse and Brian like inserting a 3.5 floppy disk drive into a computer.
Yes,
and it shows all of it's like a PowerPoint presentation of just pictures of Supras. And like,
and this is what your car could look like.
It look like this. Yeah, it could look like. And it's just like, I don't know if you know this, but you're just showing pictures of the actual car that you guys are going to use.
That you guys are going to.
because we didn't have Google image search like we do now, where people are posting on, Instagram and stuff of their
Yeah.
car. Where are you getting these pictures from? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Well,
the
apparently
dark web.
he is
He's
some
getting it from
kind
the dark
of.
web.
This is how we know he's a hacker, right? Because he knows how to insert a floppy disk that has a PowerPoint on it. But
Yeah.
yeah, and you're right. This
And it
is
was
just
so
him.
funny. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this is him liking everybody, growing a relationship with everybody.
It's,
So I
it's
love
so funny
you,
because
ADHD.
you get these weird like long stares from
Yeah.
Paul Walker at
Oh,
Jesse,
God.
just like, you should be at MIT. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, he just put a floppy disk in.
Yeah.
Take it easy. Like, you don't know enough about him.
He's like, I got that. I got the ADD. I can't.
He's like, oh no, not the ADD, man.
Yeah.
He's like, what is it? The engine noise is the only thing that keeps me calm. All right. Okay. There might be other things going on with Jesse. I don't know. But yeah. So
But
yeah.
he likes Jesse.
Yeah. So it leads into the barbecue, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of many barbecues that we're gonna have to endure through this franchise. So they all arrive for the barbecue. Vince gets there and he's just like, "Oh, that Buster is here." So he just
The
starts throwing
Buster's
a tantrum, and he was just like, "Hey Vince, we could use a hand." He's like, "Looks like you got all the hands you need," and he just like leaves and
Yeah.
just speeds off.
That guy's got a temper.
Dude,
Vince has a temper.
mean, and then Vince comes back like 5 minutes later,
Yeah.
and he's just like,
Can I come eat?
And
He's always
it's
hungry.
so funny. It's so funny because they asked Jesse to say grace because
Yeah.
I mean, criminals, they gotta say grace too, right? So
Right. I mean, this is the
Jesse's
first
thankful
time.
for Jesse's thankful for like titanium parts and like alloys and
Yeah.
valve springs and turbo and stuff, and it was very sweet and just
Race to the car
drives
gods.
home. Yeah, exactly, right. So Brian and Mia, this is their time for their falling in love scene, right? Washing dishes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So they go in the kitchen. He's like showing how nice he is. I'm a nice guy. I'm gonna help you wash the dishes.
I know how to wash dishes.
Yeah.
And Vince comes
where I come from. I mean, the cook doesn't clean after.
Right. I'm just like, whoa.
Buttering her up.
I mean, like, you're already in. I mean, you're washing dishes. You don't need to tell her that you're washing dishes. So Vince comes in, and he's just like, he's still like, that Buster's in here washing dishes. He's like, maybe I should put.
He's still upset.
Dude, he's still upset. He's just like, hey, maybe we can wash my car. I could put a dress on you and like go put you out on the street corner. It's like, whoa. Vince, this is too much, Vince. Like,
let it go. Just let it go.
Let it go.
I mean, you've known Mia for your whole life. Like, you don't have her yet. Let it go.
He starts fighting with a microwave. And so Mia, which is pretty cool, what she
does is she asks Vince for the name of that place that he always wants to take her on a date. And he's like, oh yeah, cha cha cha.
And then she delivers the low blow.
Oh, dude, it was awesome. She tells Paul Walker to take him there.
Yeah.
Not because of the dishes, because he's Paul Walker.
Yes, because of those blue eyes. Once again.
Those eyes, man. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And so Vince storms out, which is the best part of the scene because they're watching Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, while he's leaving.
So funny. They lingered on the screen just enough for you to recognize it was Jason Scott Lee in Dragon.
Yeah.
One of my other favorite movies. It was so funny.
And same director, by the way.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good. Pretty good pull. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yep. So
and then
after that,
when they leave there,
Brian goes to Hector's, right?
Yeah.
Or did they go to the restaurant? Brian goes to Hector's.
Yeah. Hector goes to the shop. Harry's. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Hector comes into the shop.
Yeah.
Brian's the cashier. Yep.
Yeah. This is where they see if Hector's the one because we don't know
This is
who's
what do you call
the
this?
hijackers yet.
Is this called a MacGuffin, or it's a
Maybe.
red herring? They're
Something
trying to lead you off, right?
trying to throw us
So
off,
Hector
huh?
comes in and he's just like, "Yeah, man, I got all this cash and I need all these parts for 3 Civics. Know anything else about 3 Civics?" And he's just
Wait a
like,
minute.
"Did you say
You
3
can-
Civics?" It's like I wanted him to literally look at the camera and be like, "Audience, did you hear that? He said 3 Civics. We should get out our handy dandy notebook."
That's exactly.
3
Yes.
Civics. Now we just have to find somebody who's interested in VCR combos. Oh, there we go. It was like Blue's Clues, man. And then like, so
This
so now
is a good.
we're all thinking it's Hector, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then he pulls out the
So-
wad of cash, and he's like, "What do you think about this?"
Right. He was just like, "I came into some fresh VCR cash.
Yeah.
And I gotta launder it through Harry's to get more parts from a ninja car to go steal from the truckers before they take matters into their own hands." Like he literally could have said that.
Yeah.
And Brian would have been like, "Ooh." So cut to nighttime because nothing else happened between that and nighttime. And Brian is breaking into Hector's garage, right? So
Apparently, right across the street from where he was partying.
yeah, it's weird. It's okay across the street, and he
Takes his
does he find anything there?
work truck there. He takes his work
Yeah,
truck, his bright red lightning work truck with the name written on the
special
side.
edition.
Special edition to go break into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as he climbed up, he was like whistling really loud, like a song.
So I gotta interject right now. I just want to introduce my off-camera co-host, which she's excited to do this too. Is my wife Shanna. She will be off-camera and sometimes joining our conversation. So
She's a Blockbuster sister.
yes, because my mic, she didn't know, but my mic will pick her up. So say hi, Shanna.
Hey guys.
Can you hear her?
Yeah, I can hear her.
Okay.
That people could hear me when I was in the room.
But I invite you, Shanna, to join us.
Sorry about all that. I thought my comments were solely for Corey. Did not know the big red mic on his table was not just a prop.
So
what happened was Shanna pulled up in a red lightning with her name on the side, and she
with pots and pans.
Yeah, just clanging pots and pans.
My tap shoes to climb up the tin
roof. with a flashlight, like a headlamp.
Yeah, guys, I'm here.
Which is still more stealth than Brian was being.
Yeah.
In this scene that we're going to talk about right now.
Yeah.
Which is Paul Walker's worst acting part of the entire movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yes. And this whole scene is when he climbs in the window, right? And he goes in there and he figures out that
he breaks the window. Yeah. He also leaves evidence everywhere. He just breaks the glass window.
And he's a cop.
He's got a flashlight, just
gloves.
like, hey, if you're outside across the street, I'm in here. You know.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he's not stealth, but he doesn't find anything. So I guess he confirms that it's not Hector. So he leaves. Right. But as he's leaving, apparently Victor,
number one Ghostbuster,
the number one Vince,
the Buster hater,
is waiting for him.
Yeah. Apparently
he tailed Brian for some reason, and convinced Dom to also follow his new friend. He's like, "Yeah, I think this guy is up to something. Let's follow him for no apparent reason."
I think
that Brian climbing into that warehouse.
He was at Hector's party.
He was at Hector's party
the whole time. Yeah.
I know that guy.
And it was like, I was at Hector's party. And I see your truck pull up. I see a flashlight. I hear glass breaking, and I hear walking on a tin roof. And we're just like, I'm gonna go check it out. I'm gonna go check on Brian because I know it's him that's there. And we don't use cell phones in this movie, so I'm not gonna call him. I'm just gonna walk over.
We're like, hey,
Brian, is that you?
are you?
I gotta say that scene where when Toretto comes out of the shadows was pretty good. That was like
yes,
I felt like watching it.
The Homer Simpson.
That was well done. I was like, oh, I forgot that happened in the movie, and I was like, oh snap! It's not just Vince. It's not your word against Vince's. Toretto's there. So yeah, that was, and he asked the line, which I don't know. If you're a cop and somebody asks you you're a cop, you're supposed to answer, right? But like if you're undercover, I don't know what the rules are, but yeah. He was like, "You a cop?" He was like, "No."
Who's a cop? Yeah.
Yeah, but you drive like a cop. Yeah.
Yeah, that was Shanna did not think that acting was good at all.
From who? From Toretto?
Paul Walker.
From Vin Diesel? Oh,
No. When he's, I mean, this is to me one of the hardest scenes for me to watch. He was like, "No, Dom, no, because I owe you a 10-second car, and you know I can't lose again." It's like,
dude, it was so bad. It was. In real life, he'd be dead in the gutter. Like,
Don was like, "He's a cop, kill him."
He was just like, "No. I just spotted 3 black Civics with spoon engines." And Tom was just like, "We're gonna go for a ride." And I was like, "What? Oh, you're gonna get shot in the head. That's what's gonna happen."
Yeah.
Because he's like, "What are you gonna do? Go under every warehouse and check under every hood?"
Yep.
I don't know.
So what do they do instead? I mean, like taking a cue out of Brian Spillner's handbook for undercover, they take a white Jetta with shiny silver sides to Johnny Tran's garage.
Yes.
And they all have flashlights.
Yeah.
And they break the windows there. They climb into Johnny Tran's garage.
Yeah.
And they're snooping around in there. And what do they find? VCR combos. So now as an audience, right, we're confused. We got Hector ordering parts for 3 Civics. You got Johnny Tran and his VCR combos, but no Civics. What's going on? And okay, so you hear Jesse hears Johnny Tran's crotch rockets returning, right? And like, so he tells him to get out of there. And did you guys notice that when Johnny Tran and them are opening the gate to the garage,
that Brian is running while they're driving in?
He is clearly not even hiding behind the car.
No.
Like he's running standing up.
Yeah.
And the guys on the motorcycles
like, "Hey Brian."
Hey Brian. Oh, hi Brian. I thought it was Dom because I saw the Jetta outside.
Yeah. Is Jesse in here or is he still out there in the car?
Jesse's in the car, right? I mean, yeah. So
that was
they
bad.
come in and they ignored Brian. So they're all hiding. And for some reason, so they're on motorcycles. They didn't come on cars that I could see.
Yeah. Well,
and they drove.
Johnny Tran did. He came in his S2000.
Oh, he came in his S2000, and he drove this guy Ted, who's just like a car part supplier. Yeah. They just drove this guy to the garage.
That guy work at Harry's too?
Ted, this is the only time we're seeing Ted. There's no backstory.
I'm confused about this whole scene as well.
Mind you, I'm pretty sure Ted dies after this scene. But so Ted agrees to go to Johnny Tran's garage. What do you think's going to happen? You're not supplying what Johnny Tran needs. You're going to go to the garage at nighttime?
Yeah. So
he goes, and this is when Johnny Tran creepily asks his cousin, like, "What you thinking? 40 weight? 50 weight?" And Lance, being the gentleman, is just like...
Love Lance's face.
40 should be good.
Yeah, Lance is like my favorite. I mean, like side
Lance
character.
Lance just like, we don't want to kill him.
Yeah.
just want to poison him.
We just want to scare him.
I mean, if he dies after he leaves here, then that's on him. But like, I mean, he's getting diarrhea from this.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah,
so
he would not be happy in the morning.
They proceed to pump him full of motor oil, and
Yeah.
and as if that wasn't enough, I don't know if this was ad-libbed or it was written, but it is one of the most out-of-place lines in the entire movie, where Johnny Tran tells Ted, kiss my shoes.
Yeah. Really? This is.
And we're just like, what?
Yeah. I mean, basically, they want to paint Johnny Tran as the bad guy, and just he has VCRs and he makes guys kiss his feet. I mean, he is a bad guy.
Kiss my shoes. Yeah. So I just thought I that was super out of place. But yeah. So
they could have stopped with the 40 weight. For sure.
And I mean, like how? So I mean, that's it for that scene. We don't know how long Brian and them are in the Johnny Tran's garage, but he does confirm that he finds like 100 boxes of camcorders and
yes.
I mean, it lines up with the crime, right?
Because he goes back to the FBI house after this.
So he goes back to the FBI house, and FBI is just like, well, let's just pick up Johnny Tran. There we go. We got him. And Brian's just like, no, being the hard-nosed detective that Brian is, he's just like, no, we need hard evidence. Which it's not enough.
Which I think he's correct, because I don't think you can use that in a court of law. Having an undercover break into a garage.
FBI is not worried about evidence, but what they are worried about, and they reiterate, is the truckers.
The truckers.
Because
this movie is about the truckers. It really is.
Literally says, we are worried about what the truckers are assembling. Like, like, are we looking at like an Avengers Endgame scene where all the truckers come through portals? Like on your left, and it's just like a trucker with an axe, like running, like I don't know.
I think.
So yeah, and
they're very concerned about
the
the trucker.
Funny and like totally inappropriate line is when Brian's boss, the cop boss, is just like, "You going native on me, Brian?"
Yeah. I know.
Oh man, dude,
this is a concern. He's pretty obvious that he is, because every time they mention anything about Toretto or Mia, in fact, I think one of the I think his name is Muse. One of the cops' names is Muse.
Yeah.
He mentions like what is it? Mia's pictures or something. and Brian like pushes him, and Muse goes down. He's like falls over the other.
It's so funny. That's so true, because like. What they should have done is every time they mention Dom when he's with his cop friends, he should have like turned away. and the color scheme should like faded to like grayscale, and like I guess he's trying to show this like internal struggle that he's having. It's just like
not very internal.
Yeah, it would have been great if like he turned and he like went to that dark place, and like everybody else is just watching.
Just watching him go into his quiet place,
like 1,000-yard stare, and then he just snaps out of it like, "I'm a cop, but that's my family." But Mia,
he's like, "I need more time. Yeah. I need more time. I'm not ready for this."
Yeah. So.
And then,
so it cuts to Dom and Brian's first love, 10th love scene now. So now they're at the garage working on a car, right? And like Dom's installing a radiator from the inside of a car, and he asks the real like out of character question, like, "Got any fun plans tonight?"
Yeah.
And Brian's just like,
"Going to dinner."
Thinking of taking your sister out on a date, which is also
not to make this awkward or anything, but taking your sister out.
But I'm about
break
to
your heart, I'll break your neck.
Yeah, that was a good line. That was a good line. Just like to get to that line was really weird. So
it was really awkward. But this is where they introduce the Charger.
Oh man, so like Dom takes him to another garage, the garage of the house, I guess, which is on the other side of the garage. And
they have a lot of places to go.
Dude, it's just like the inner sanctum. So like, so Brian's in now. So Brian is
in
just
there.
like, the one, right? So he shows Brian the Chevy, right, which has got this huge beast of an engine coming out the back, and he's talking about it's got 900 horsepower and like 9 seconds flat. And one time my dad drove it and the chassis twisted off the line, and we're like, oh, wow, right on. Okay, so it's a beast. I get it, it's a beast.
Yeah.
And then he goes into this whole like story about his dad, and I have to pause right here because like as he's telling the story, okay, I'm going back to Pixar movies because
Okay,
it's all we
okay.
watch with the kids.
I'm gonna follow you this time.
You've seen Cars, right?
I have seen Cars. Yes.
So you know who Doc Hudson is, right?
Yes.
Doc Hudson's the old timer racer that gets into an accident and he gives up racing and like.
Yes.
So as he's explaining this, as Dom's explaining this story, I was just like, did Cars steal Doc Hudson's character?
I think they did. I think I remember
dad?
knowing that. They absolutely did. Yes.
Dom's dad is Doc Hudson. He was like
pretty sure
famous racer who he lost his life in it because this guy clipped his car at 120 miles an hour and he went up in flames and he died right into a wall at 120 miles an hour and he died. Doc Hudson went into a wall at what looked like 120 miles an hour. His racing days were over. I mean, Luigi didn't beat a guy to death with like with a wrench, but I mean, you know. Yeah. So
it's Pixar, so yeah.
So Dom goes into this whole incriminating story for whatever reason. I mean, like,
yeah.
Does Dom know that Brian's a cop? Because this is the kind of story you tell a cop, so that you get some grace, you know.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He tells him the story, and Brian's just full on internal struggling now. Yeah.
Yeah. He's all like, "I love you, Dom." At this point.
Yeah.
he had me at quarter mile.
Yeah. So he says that line. He was just like, I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Yeah. Which is an epic line. I do love the line. I love corny lines
seconds, though. For those 10 seconds, I'm free. I get it. That is a cool line, and I get it. So at this point, you pause the movie, and you're like, okay, I think I understand what this franchise is about. It's about family, and it's about doing what you love.
Yes.
So we need to remember that as we go through this franchise and see how that changes.
Okay, let's do that. Yes.
So that's the end. That's the end of that love scene. Cut to Cha-Cha-Cha, Cuban restaurant with Mia. And it's basically Mia giving the team's origin story, right? Like,
it is. No, yes, exactly. That's exactly what she's doing.
Just like, she's like, listen, the directors don't have time to show you sitting down with each of us. So I'm going to just go down the line with Letty, Vince. I don't know about Leon, but yeah. So Dom's creepily been in a relationship with Letty since he was a little kid.
Yeah. Since she was 16.
Vince,
don't know how much older he is.
Dumb since he was a little kid, and like that's why he keeps him around. We and apparently Dom is like gravity because he pulls everything to him, right?
Yeah. I feel bad for Leon though. He doesn't really have anything like that's like he's just kind of like the extra guy. Like, he's the radio guy. Leon, he is the radio guy. Like,
Leon was the walkie-talkie guy. He got free snacks at Toretto's.
He did.
They're watching Vince beat up Paul Walker. Yeah. So cut to Harry's. Oh, actually, it goes into this montage where it's like split screening almost, where it shows the Ninja Hondas, right? First, before we go to this cutscene, Mia's just like, "Let me take you for a drive." And she takes Brian on what looks like a terrifying drive. Like she's driving really fast and pulling donuts in the middle of the street.
Do you know what kind of car she has? I think it's an Integra, but I don't know. I might be wrong.
Oh, really? It might have been an Integra. I don't know. At this point, when it came to the cars, I was starting to glaze over. I was like, stickers. So, yeah. I mean,
apparently she's a crazy driver, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, was she supposed to be a good driver or I don't know. But
this is what I don't get. Like during the movie, like real quick, these racers that are supposed to be like tough, like racers that used to being in fast cars, whenever they're a passenger, it seems like they're afraid. Like when Dom was a passenger, when Brian was doing the escaping, he was like, oh, and then Brian was all scared when this girl was driving. So I don't know what's going on with that.
I think with Dom, it's because his feet were controlling the forward movement of the car, but Paul Walker was controlling the side to side. So, you know, they had to work together on that one. Yeah. So here's where it cuts to the split screen of like the Ninja Honda Civics that are back, right? They've got their green lights on. And we're like, oh, okay, here we go. They're gonna go take it out, do another job, and it cuts to Harry's. It cuts to a long shot of Harry's automotive shop. All the lights are out, and the camera's panning through the shop to what looks like just a corner of the shop.
Yeah.
With a lamp on, and like there's a mattress on the floor. And Paul Walker and Mia were just solidifying the relationship in a Harry.
He's like, you don't let me do this, you're going to jail, Harry.
Harry's crying in his office.
He's in there. Just in the corner.
So that's Harry's office, and Harry's actually like off shot. Just trying to balance the books for the day. He's like, you keep it down. I need to turn the lights on. And he's just like, we're having a moment here, Harry. So Paul Walker and Mia are sleeping on the floor in Harry's, and they're not really sleeping, but Paul Walker gets a call saying, the deal's going down.
The Sarge.
Yeah. So somehow they get intel.
Yeah.
Probably from the truckers that.
Well, because there was a heist right before that, right? There was they showed the cars going after Cha-Cha's. They had that. Yeah. They didn't go into it. It was kind of weird because I thought it was still her driving, because she was driving, and they cut right into the heist. And it was like, she's driving with 3 cars. And, that's a heist. And then it was like 3 seconds.
They didn't even show the whole heist, right?
No,
it was just like
it was like 3 seconds. Like, it happened, and then it was kind of awkward because then it cuts.
And then
to
it happened.
Yeah. And then it happened.
Yeah. So
the Sarge calls.
Yeah.
We got.
So Sarge calls, and what do you call?
They asked for his permission. Hey, can we move in on Johnny Tran? He's like,
and he begrudgingly
it's a wrong number.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So the next day cuts into it, and this was really funny because they decide to go to Johnny Tran's restaurant and to Johnny Tran's house, and it's just like this metal song playing, and they show all the SWAT montage, like gearing up, and like Paul Walker gets to be in on the action, right? So he gets geared up, but he wears a balaclava, so you can't see his face, but you can't hide those baby blue eyes, dude.
No.
It's just like
you can't. It's like,
nobody else has those eyes.
Hey, Brian, what are you doing here?
Hey, Brian, I saw you from across the street. Put on the balaclava. You pulled up in your red truck too to the restaurant. So they show SWAT. Going to the Chinese restaurant. They pick up Lance and his.
They choke slammed Lance.
Oh yeah, that was great.
That was great. Ooh, that was a nice one.
Foreshadowing of The Rock doing Rock Bottom later on in the franchise. And then they show Johnny Tran's house, right? One Braddahs. They show Johnny Tran's house. SWAT goes in. They annihilate Johnny Tran's dad's door, man. Like that door just explodes.
And that is why Daddy slaps Johnny Tran. It wasn't because he was disgraced. It was because they broke my door.
Dude, it was so funny, man. It was so funny. Because when I saw that scene, I haven't seen this movie in I don't know, over 10 years. And like, as soon as I saw that scene of Johnny Tran getting pulled by the cops, I was just like, I know what line is coming, and it's going to happen at Race Wars, and we'll get to that. But yeah. So they get picked up, and go ahead.
The funny thing to me about that whole scene is they had like 3 different montages going on at once. They had Johnny Tran getting picked up. They had the Supra getting ready. And then they
They had
had
a
some
weird
kind of
love
inappropriate, intimate
They had a
scene
weird
with.
love scene with Dom and Letty. I know,
Yeah.
dude. It was just
And it's
like,
all happening at the same time, showing that how great Dom's life is, I guess, and how bad Johnny Duran's life is. Like, I don't know what
dude,
that
I
was all
guess,
about. But
yeah.
some unnecessary scenes to, not that the storyline is that poppin', but
Right.
to the storyline.
Yep. So cut to Brian sulking at the FBI headquarters, and because he knew that this was a bad deal. FBI comes, they're just like, oh, just got off the phone and realized that all the DVD players were legally purchased. Because that's the currency in 2001. We don't do diamonds anymore. We do VCRs and DVD players. So Brian's all like, he's all salty, just like, I knew it. Now what? So they got nothing, right? And
but this is where the pressure is put on.
Yeah.
This is where
Brian
the FBI is like, you have 36 hours. So they're kind of pressuring.
So they're trying to frame Brian now, right? And he's like, they're putting it on him. So now Brian's feeling the pressure, and then him and Dom complete the car. They finish that Supra. It looks just like the 3.5 floppy drive.
You look just like
and
it.
They go for a drive, and they end up racing this pretentious Ferrari owner, right?
Yeah, which I have another detail.
Yeah,
this is one of my favorite scenes too in the movie. It makes me feel good inside when it happens. But the Ferrari driver is actually Neil H. Moritz, which is the producer of the movie. So they had the director as as the pizza driver,
pizza guy,
and the producer gets to drive the Ferrari,
driving his own car. Yeah. That's a good pull. Wow.
Yeah, no, I thought that was funny, but it was I love that they put the Supra against the Ferrari, and they just start, this dude is like, I think Brian was very nice in the fact that he was asking, how much did that car cost? The guy had to be a jerk about it, so Dom stepped in and was like, smoke him, which he ended up doing. It made me feel good inside beating the jerk in the Ferrari. And Supra used to be my favorite car. I wanted a Supra back in late 90s, early 2000s. That was the car.
I think everybody did. Yeah, and then they go and get shrimp tacos. So now Dom is on a date with Brian, and Brian's being all salty, and he's just like, I want in on whatever it is you guys are doing. Yeah, I know you're not making money on this bodega and like and what in your garage. And like,
or that illegal street racing that you're the best at.
Dom's just like, well, I happen to have this paper in my pocket right now.
He's like,
and he slides it across the table, and he's just like, it's an address to the desert. I didn't know the desert had an address. I want to say that the paper literally just said the desert. And he was just like, let's see how you do at Race Wars, and then we'll talk. I was like, dang, I don't got that kind of time. What if Race Wars was like a week away and not 36 hours, right? So like,
all right, I got to train for this. But this is something that I've been waiting for because of what we were talking earlier. That restaurant, and I think this is what it was. This is what it meant. It was Neptune's Net, Net, which was in Point Break.
No.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, that was a reference to Point Break.
That is the deepest of pools, my friend. Well done.
So they are connected.
And they are. Same universe.
I think it is. It's the same universe. That's a prequel.
Dude. I mean, at this point, I think it's the same universe as Toy Story and also Cars. So who knows what's going on?
This is a Pixar.
So like, okay. So Race Wars happened. I'm gonna fast forward us. We know what Race Wars is. Race Wars is where everybody goes to race, and it's a war. And
I do want to.
You basically
one pool though. I want to do one pool.
Go. Yeah.
The first Samoan in the franchise shows up.
He does.
In this,
he does. And what's his line?
The security guard.
Welcome to Race Wars.
Welcome to Race Wars.
And you know what's funny is like I thought about it. I was like 2001. The Rock is still like at his prime in
Yeah.
WWF
Yeah.
or E. And
Yeah.
like he's got the sideburns and the glasses. And I remember being a Samoan myself, that every Samoan man cut their hair to look like The Rock at that time. Everybody had the Elvis sideburns,
Yeah.
and you had the Ray-Ban glasses.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this guy was no exception, and
Yeah.
he got his welcome to
It
Race
was the
Wars. It's
foreshadow
it's a Rock.
to The Rock being there.
There you go. There you go. That's all allow
I did.
it.
I did
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
mention
It's a
that
good
one
pull.
because he's
That's a good
Umbrada.
pull. Yep. He is a Braddah. So okay, so I'm gonna fast forward to Paul Walker gets there. He meets Jesse. Jesse's saying he's gonna race, and he's gonna race for pink slips and respect. And nobody knows who he's racing yet. He gets to the line against an S2000, winds down the window. Who is it? Johnny Tran. And Paul Walker, in third worst acting moment of the movie, tries to convey concern for Jesse. Just like, don't do it. Please don't do it. Don't race him. Please don't race him. Nobody's believing it. So Jesse doesn't believe it, and he ends up racing Johnny Tran. Of course he loses because, according to Brian, Johnny has $100,000 worth of VCR combos in his engine. So Johnny Tran wins, and Jesse decides to run away in his car. He's
like, I don't want to give you my car.
And Johnny Tran pulls up to Dom's tailgate party, and just like, you better be coming back with my car. And I like how Johnny Tran led with that.
Yeah.
And not the fact that cops came to his house, but this is my absolute favorite line in the entire movie. And I don't want to screw it up, so let me look at my my notes here. Oh man. Basically, he said SWAT came to my house. And then Dom says, I never knocked on nobody.
Yeah.
I never knocked on nobody.
Because someone knocked on me, and it was you.
Oh man, it was like, it was.
And he
best.
soaks him.
I took, dude, it was so good. I love that. I love that scene. It was such a iconic scene. I've used that line so many times in just weird context. Like, I never knocked on nobody.
Nobody. Yeah.
So that
line.
happens. Jesse runs. SWAT came to my house. Never knocked on nobody. And then cut to nighttime already, and then it's just having like the Matrix rave that's happening.
Wait, I gotta mention that I also feel bad for Lance, because not only Blockbuster is an 8. Not only did Lance get chokeslammed, but he just got knocked out by a girl in that scene. Because Letty,
he got cracked by Letty.
Yeah. And so, and Paul Walker or Brian is just sitting on the side doing nothing.
Yeah. The only law enforcement officer on the scene doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he's like, so, you okay over there?
I mean, when they look at him, he's just like, I'm just a street racer.
Yeah, but then yes, cuts to nighttime.
Yeah, cut to the nighttime. You got your Matrix rave going on, and Mia. So Brian's in a trailer, and he's looking for everybody.
Mia. Yeah.
He looks out the window and he sees Mia, like, I want to say 10 cars away.
Yeah, like
just
far.
They're far.
Yeah.
And he can hear her whispering.
And there's
to Dom.
Techno music blaring.
And there's techno music, and you can hear her saying, "No, don't go." She's like whispering.
Yeah. He's got his bionic ears on.
Brian, I didn't know you could hear that far. I'm learning so much about this undercover cop. So like, he runs out, he catches up with Mia in record time because she's far away from the trailer
too.
And he basically Dom takes off with the rest of the gang minus Jesse, right? So they're a man light, and Brian tells her that he's a cop,
Yeah,
And
this is where he
cut to the
lets it all out.
first of, I feel like everybody who looks at Brian for the rest of the movie is disappointed. So like,
Yeah.
cut to the first Mia disappointed face. There's gonna be so many disappointed faces coming up. So Mia doesn't believe him, and he convinces her. He's like, "Please, I care about Dom. We're a family." Blah blah blah. I forget what exactly he says to convince her, but oh yeah, no, he basically says something along the lines of, "We don't go and help them, the truckers."
Yeah. I was about to say, yes, it was the truckers, Frank.
It was
The
the
truckers. It's always the truckers.
For whatever reason, she understands the danger that these truckers are, the criminals. Like, she was like, "Oh my
We don't mess
gosh, the
with
truckers, we gotta go." So they go,
She
and
jumps in the car.
she jumps in the car and they're driving, and the best thing happens. Like, they cut to Mia, and what is she doing? She's looking at a map, like a paper map. I'm just like, wow. People in 2001 were geniuses. I don't know how to read a map. Like, how do you know which way is which? Which direction are you going, lady? It's nighttime. So
No,
they
and then
can't
he
figure
calls
it
the
out either.
cops.
He calls
Right?
he calls Nextel.
Nextel, yes. I was about
He
to
calls
say
the
they had
Nextel
Nextel
operator,
back then.
and he says, "This is Officer Brian O'Connor." Cut to second disappointed
Yes.
face from Mia. She looks at him like,
She is not happy.
"O'Connor?" It was great. It was great. Like, "You're Irish?" It was. What happened to Spilner? Like, it was just super disappointed. She's welling up, and he's basically putting a trace on Dom's phone, right?
Yeah, he's trying to
What's
get
great
her.
about, I mean, like, look how far we've come, right? It's 2020. I have Find My iPhone, and in a moment's time, I can find any device, anywhere. Like, he has to hang up, and another person has to be tracking a phone. It takes like 15 minutes for them to get back to them. Enough time for the movie to cut to Dom pulling up to the Civics, uncovering the Ninja
She's
Civics,
daytime now.
having a conversation. Yeah, it's now daytime. and I love how his team just like has folded. Like,
Yeah.
every single one of them is just like, "I ain't got a good feeling about this, Dom.
Yeah. No.
It's not
Yeah.
gonna go
Because
well.
they're like, because Jesse's not there. But you have
Because
enough people to drive the cars.
we don't got Jesse. We don't got Jesse to tell me that my NOS timer is slightly off." Like, in the beginning, I never saw Jesse shooting a harpoon gun. He's not doing any of that stuff.
He doesn't
like,
do anything. He's
he
just there to
doesn't.
say that the car sounds good afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, transmission sounded great today, guys.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
So everybody's got a bad feeling about this Dom. Dom's not hearing any of it. He's just like, "This is one last job, guys. These VCRs are gonna pay for whatever." It's like, you know. So,
the last job.
This is the last job for us. Then we're gonna take a long vacation, right? And then he has this weird line to Letty. He's just like, "Letty, I had a dream that we're on a beach in Mexico. I'm saying this because the writers know that 10 years from now, we're going to be still making these movies.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be on a beach in Mexico with you. So it has nothing to do with this movie. Just keep that in your back pocket so we can look back at it, all right?" So that's good writing in 2001. So yeah, they cut to they leave. They cut to the job. It's daytime, right? And they pull up on the truck. They shoot the harpoons. They do their deal. You know, it's just they know what to do. But this time, the trucker has taken the situation into his own
hands. Yes.
I mean, FBI saw it coming. Everybody saw it coming,
except
Dom. Except Dom. Yeah. I guess
he was blinded by Brian's blue eyes.
So the truck driver has a shotgun. And you understand firearms a little bit better than I do, but like, I know that shotguns usually shoot like buckshots and stuff, right? They scatter shot, right?
There are different types of rounds
ammunition
that can go into a shotgun. Right.
So this shotgun,
I'm not sure what kind of shot. I am not an expert on shotguns.
Yeah,
but apparently it showed just a little
shooting.
Yeah, it was like between a buckshot and like a.
It's shooting like baseball size holes.
He should have took the guy's head off, I think.
Yeah,
is what
like watermelon style. So like he's shooting at Vince. Vince is on the hood. He falls onto the side. His arm gets wrapped around the metal wire.
Yeah. He should have kept his helmet on. That's all I'm saying.
He takes his helmet off, so his arm's getting ripped up, and Dom is pulling up on the side. And favorite is like Dom's hanging halfway out of the car, and he's just like, "Take my hand!" And it's so funny
Because you won't hit
like,
the ground at all.
What is Vince supposed to do when he takes your hand? You don't have the physical strength to throw him on top of your car. He's gonna fall on the ground, and you're gonna run over him. But that's Dom's best guess. So Dom's doing that. He's not thinking very well. Vince is getting more cut up, and then Letty's trying to distract from the other side, right? And she's mind you, Dom and his team still don't have any guns of their own. Like it's just bad planning. They have a harpoon gun and cars. Vince is the one with the shotgun. That's why, and he's busy right now. So he's a little tied up right now. He's almost unarmed.
Yeah. Which fun fact about this scene is his arm was supposed to be more mangled, which would have made the movie an R-rated movie. So they took those scenes out to keep it a PG movie.
Oh, thank goodness! I'm sure the children appreciate it.
Yes,
I know. I do. Yeah. So the scene kind of goes on for a long time. The driver. So here's the thing: the driver of the truck, all of them, they're all speeding. The car is speeding, truck speeding. All the truck has to do is slam on his brakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Because they don't have guns.
A better shot. They don't have guns. They don't have guns, and they got a guy bleeding out on your door. You know what I mean? Like, pull over and use your Nextel. So anyway, Brian and Mia come upon them, right? And they decide to help out. And what do? They go up, and now Brian's really showing his ultimate compassion.
Yeah. Well, Letty ends up crashing her car. I don't know if we had said that.
Oh yeah, dude. We didn't. She was distracting the
Leon
truck driver.
Has to turn around to So she does the under the car again.
She does that under the car to switch sides to the driver's side, and that's when the truck driver, I think, clips her car.
Oh,
and she goes flipping over, and Dom.
What he should have been doing is just, switching side to side to take them out, but he doesn't. But he does it to her. She goes flying, does a couple flips.
A couple flips. It was pretty.
Dom is like, "Hey, Leon, go back and get, because my tire's about to pop. You go back and get." Go get Letty, and I'll try to keep pursuing.
Right.
He ends up crashing or blowing out, and then here comes Brian.
Here comes Brian.
To the rescue once again.
So Brian proves that he can drive in a straight line without spinning out, and he helps rescue Vince. I don't remember how he gets Vince onto. Oh, okay. So he tells Mia, hold the wheel, and.
Mia, take the wheel.
The best shot of a stuntman is when Brian gets up on the hood, and it's a close shot of this stuntman's hairpiece, like
yes,
for Paul Walker's stuntman.
Yeah,
it's just clearly not Paul Walker. And then it cuts to like behind Paul Walker jumping on a truck to get Vince, and they get Vince. They save Vince. The truck drives off. The truck doesn't even slow down. He doesn't stop. He just keeps going.
Yep.
He protected his stuff. He's going to go tell all the other truck drivers that
they should get shotguns.
Right, guys, to take matters into our own hands.
They're going to have quite a conversation after this, the truck drivers.
So he's going back to the truck castle, the truck driver castle where the truck army is, and he can talk to them. So anyway, Brian has to call. So Dom is there. Vince is bleeding out. Brian comes and he's like, we gotta get help. So he pulls out his Nextel and get ready for the most disappointed face in the movie. So he calls for an air ambulance and he says, "This is Officer Brian O'Connor." And Vin Diesel's best acting in this entire movie is this face that he makes the ball.
It is. Like, he did a really good job with this face.
It's just like you see the level, just like if his ears could whistle.
Yeah, it was Looney Tunes. It was just like,
and
He was
And
turning
you
red
can
and
literally
everything.
see Paul Walker get terrified
Yeah.
as he's like talking. Like
And
that was
also
real
Paul
fear
Walker's
that we
best
saw.
acting because it was
Best
real.
acting because he wasn't acting. He wasn't acting.
Yeah,
He
he
really
was
thought he
actually
was
afraid of Vin Diesel.
Yeah, I was afraid of it. I was like, "Ooh,
Like,
glad that's not me."
oh, this guy's
So,
gonna
yeah.
get beat up.
Helicopter comes, picks up Vince. Dom takes off. Still disappointed face.
With everybody.
Mia is like, "Oh, do I? Don't I?
Yeah.
Oh,
Family.
And then she leaves.
first.
Yeah, family.
Yeah.
Right. And then Brian leaves.
Yeah, I think
Call
that's
for
it. But I
Lifeline.
mean, Vince is going to jail, I guess, right? Is that safe
Vince
to
is
say?
definitely going to jail. I
Vince
mean,
is
like,
in jail.
yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
He'll live.
So I guess
But
so. Brian heads back to Dom's house, and hey, guess who's there? Dom. Dom's there.
Yeah.
And Dom's going to get a shotgun because
he's got the shot. He should have had it with him.
he doesn't take the guns with him on his crime sprees, but keeps it at the house. So he's gonna go get Jesse, and man, it's like the director said, "Listen, we've only got 5 more minutes of this movie,
Yeah.
so everything's
Pack
gonna
as much as we
happen
can."
in rapid succession."
Yeah.
So Tom's just like, "I gotta go find Jesse." Jesse literally pulls up as he's saying that, and just like, "I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have." And he's not even done saying that, and Johnny Tran pulls up, shoots Jesse in slow motion, and we don't even see any blood, I don't think, on that.
I don't think
So
so.
he
But
shoots
Dom
Jesse.
is like crying over him, holding him.
Yeah. And then to get back in Dom's good graces, Brian's just like, I'll go after him.
Yeah.
So Lance and Johnny? Both of them again?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. They both go off, and they have a nice chase with some pretty sweet jumps. And then Johnny Tran gets he falls off a hill.
Yeah. Well, Dom continues to follow. Right? He decides to follow them. And he comes and fishtails Lance. Again, I feel bad for Lance. Lance goes flying, flipping down a hill.
Yeah.
And then Brian is chasing Johnny Tran. He comes to a sliding stop, facing sideways, pulls out his gun.
And it
shoots him in his flank while Johnny Tran is firing his Uzi facing backwards.
Yeah.
Johnny Tran goes flying.
I don't know if he was actually firing his Uzi at that moment. I think that Brian shot him in the back. Which you're a cop. You can't be shooting people in the back, man. There's no self-defense argument now. He was fleeing
a lot of
on
witnesses
motorcycle,
too.
And yeah.
So Johnny goes flying
Yeah.
into the wall. He runs over,
Yep.
checks him. I think he's dead.
Yep.
But then he runs away and tells the people to call 911.
Right.
He's like, call 911. And then he runs away after Dom because he sees Dom. And then
So he sees Dom because we only have 5 minutes
left
in the movie. We got 3 minutes left in the movie now.
Oh, because I guess Dom was making sure that Johnny Tran was down. And then he took off. Brian takes off after him. And that brings us to the railroad track scene.
Here comes a stupid line. Here comes a really stupid line. They pull up at this traffic light and they're next to each other. And he's just like, I used to come down here and race all the time when I was growing up.
Yeah.
From this traffic light to the train tracks is exactly a quarter mile. I was like, come on. Anyway, so they decide to go. You hear the train whistle. You hear the train sign making its noise. And it's just like, oh, snap. When the light turns green, they're going to race. The light turns green. You see Dom lift up, chassis twist, wheeling down the road.
Yeah, and they take off.
And then what happens?
We see that the Charger, I believe it's a 71 Charger, taken off.
When it lifts up, you can literally see Dom's feet, pushing it along.
Back to the Flintstone power. That is actually how he wins his races.
He just lifted up the sides. And just
the only other character would be The Rock that could do that, but but no. So he takes off and he's beating And the only way for Brian to keep up is to push the NOS. And then
that's right.
And so he keeps up, and then something goes wrong with Dom's car. He looks down and he's like, "Uh-oh, smoke!"
All the screws
What's
fall
going
off
on?
and everything. Yeah.
But they keep going. He shifts like 13 times. I think that's a little bit more than the gears that he has. But he takes off.
He shifts into 13th gear.
Yeah. And then the train, they see, the train's coming. They're about to hit the train. So they're both clenching as they pass the finish line in the air, flying through. And they just miss the train. And they look at each other and give each other the smile like, we did it. And then a big, huge semi-truck. The truckers win. The truckers win this movie.
The truckers! I didn't even think about that.
The truckers win.
The truckers literally had the last say.
They pulled out.
Oh my gosh!
That wasn't an accident.
Totally T-boned. No, that wasn't. That truck sped up.
Yes, and took them out because obviously the truck saw, hey, look, there's two guys racing right towards my direction. I should pull out.
Also, he never stopped. He kept going.
No, he's like, Toretto, we got you.
I got something for you. Yeah. Dang, stealing my VCRs.
So he crashes his car. He's okay, apparently. And by the way, that car still looks dope even when it's crashed. And but Brian comes out and pulls him out, and then Dom is looking defeated, like he's done with. And then Brian hands him his keys, and Dom's like, "Do you know what you're doing?" And one of the best lines.
Did we just become best friends?
I owe you a 10-second car. He finishes it with, "I owe you a 10-second car." And so Dom jumps in.
That's literally the last line of my notes that I have too. I owe you a 10-second car.
Yeah, and so Dom takes off in the Supra, and Paul Walker realizes he doesn't have a car. No, but he starts walking off in slow motion. Sirens come in, and then fade to.
He started Paul walking.
Out
of the movie.
Yes, that's his famous. That was the best acting of the movie.
And you see Dom. You see Dom like fly up into the clouds.
Okay.
And he's waving.
That cut to black, right? That face to black.
Yeah.
Hugh Jaru. Did you watch the post credit?
There's no post credit scene.
There's a post credit. There's a post credit.
2001. Yeah,
there was a post credit. I didn't know either. I hovered and I was like, "Hey, what's that?" And I went and I watched it. Yes, there is a post credit scene. He is driving a red muscle car. I don't want to say what it is because I don't know. But it's a red muscle car in Baja, Mexico, and he's he's doing a voiceover, and he says, "I live my life a quarter mile at a time. For 10 seconds, I'm free." And then that is the end of the movie. Expecting him to be in the sequels, but apparently he doesn't show up in the next movie. Does he?
I don't remember. We're going to have to find out.
We're going to have to find out, which will be the next episode. So that's it. We made it all the way through the movie. That was a lot of fun. So what do we give this movie? What do you think?
So on our Shaka scoring system, right? So we've got full Shaka.
Yes.
We got thumbs up, which is below that. Pinky.
Below that.
And we got nothing. No Shaka.
Yeah. And we can go all the way up to 2 full Shakas each.
Oh, double Shaka? I don't think it gets a double Shaka. My vote, I think it gets I think because of the time capsule that it is.
Yeah.
And there were so many good one-liners. I'll give it a Shaka. I'll give it 1 Shaka.
I'm gonna have to agree. Because although it was lacking in the acting and the storyline and continuity, sometimes I think it made up for it. Yeah, made up for it with the one-liners and the awesomeness of most of the cars and Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a shaka too. So 2 shakas
Nice.
for the first Fast and the Furious movie. So
Nice. Okay, quick. What was your?
Okay.
Well, if you had to pick one of those one-liners right now, what's your favorite one-liner in the movie?
I kind of like the tuna line. I kind of like the tuna line. Yeah, as of right now, it might change. We might have to add our top quotes to the blog post, the show notes, which will be at blockbusterbraddahs.com. You can check it out there. But I think it's gonna have to be with how did the line go? It was I like the tuna here.
Yeah. Nobody likes the tuna here.
that was a good one. You had mentioned one too that I liked, but I can't think of it right now. But
I mean, like, there's "Kiss My Shoe."
that I didn't catch the first time I watched it. So yeah, there's a bunch. So what was yours?
I never knocked on nobody.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. No, that's an awesome
line.
one.
Yeah. You embarrass me.
Yeah, there's a lot of Dom. You know, I like Dom's corny and inspirational quotes that he's had throughout the movie.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of that. Will you watch it again?
I think it's gonna be another 10 years before I consider it. I think I'm good.
Yeah. I feel like this has been an experience. Like, I'm in film school right now. Like, I don't actually know what film school is like, but I feel like like watching a movie and then studying a movie are 2 different things. And I feel like I studied this movie. It was
I feel
fun.
like the next time I'm gonna watch it, there should be like enough change of technology again. Like, we have flying cars or something.
Yeah.
That I can look back and be like, what?
Yes.
What's happening in 2001? You know what I mean?
There you go.
Yeah.
Next time we watch this movie is when we have flying
We need to
cars.
we need to be on Mars by then. Like, Elon Musk needs to come through with us exploring Mars before I consider Fast and Furious again.
That's a date. Blockbuster Braddahs live stream from Mars.
Yeah. There you go.
When it happens. Well, I feel like that's it. Do you think there's anything else we want to add?
No, I mean, if you stuck it through, I don't know how long this
far.
podcast was,
Okay.
but it doesn't really matter to me because it was a lot of fun. So
let's talk to the people.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out blockbusterbraddahs.com for some show notes and some merch. You can support the show by picking up some of our dope t-shirts and stuff. Please, you can let us know there. We want to hear from you guys, what you guys thought about the show. Let us know in the comments. Yeah, we'd love to hear, like, if you have any ideas of future shows, what you thought about what we said and everything. Anything else to add?
Nope. We'll see you next time, because I've got a new movie to watch. What is the next movie in the list? What is it? Too Fast, Too Furious?
Too Furious.
Yeah,
is the next one.
I feel like that's when Tyrese join the crew, right? We'll see.
I think so.
I totally forgot, man. It's been so many years.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll tune in, because you're gonna find out with us. All right. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next episode.
Shoots.
Aloha. Aloha.